Picture this. You've just landed at Sangster International, Bob Marley playing softly through the terminal speakers, Caribbean breeze hitting your face, and then boom, you're pulled aside at immigration. Your American passport, the one that gets you into 186 countries visa-free, suddenly feels a lot less powerful. Welcome to Jamaica in 2025, where the rules just flipped, and thousands of American tourists are asking the same question. What the hell just happened? Here's what nobody's telling you. While American travelers were busy booking their next Negril sunset or Dunn's River climb, Jamaica's parliament was in session, and the word on everyone's lips was reciprocity. That's right, reciprocity. For decades, Jamaicans wanting to visit the United States have faced a gauntlet that would make anyone's head spin. We're talking 6-month wait times for visa appointments, intrusive interviews where you're treated like a suspect, fees that can drain your savings, and rejection rates that leave families separated and dreams deferred. And all of this just for the privilege of a 10-day vacation to see relatives in Miami or New York. Meanwhile, Americans touched down in Montego Bay, flashed a passport, smiled at the officer, and walked straight through to paradise. No questions asked, no fees, no hoops, just vibes. But in 2025, Jamaican lawmakers stood up and said enough. They didn't impose a visa requirement on Americans, not yet anyway, but they sent a message so clear it echoed from Kingston to Capitol Hill. If you make our people jump through hoops, don't expect a red carpet when you arrive here. The policy didn't slam the door shut, but it sure as hell added a deadbolt, a chain lock, and a doorbell camera. And American tourists, used to breezing through Caribbean airports like they own the place, are now facing something they never expected: scrutiny. Before we dive deeper into what's really happening on the ground and why this could change Caribbean tourism forever, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now. We're on a mission to reach 10,000 subscribers, and every single one of you watching helps us bring these untold travel stories to light. Subscribe, tap the notification bell, and let's grow this community together. Now, let's get back to Jamaica, because what's unfolding there is bigger than one island, one policy, or one headline. Let's talk about what actually changed, because the devil is in the details, and those details are where American tourists are getting tripped up. First, there's the C5 form. If that name means nothing to you, you're already behind. The C5 is Jamaica's electronic customs and immigration declaration, mandatory since September 2023, but enforcement in 2025 became ironclad. You fill it out online at enterjamaica.gov.jm. It's free, takes about 5 minutes, and generates a QR code that you must present upon arrival. Sounds simple, right? Except thousands of travelers either don't know about it, forget to do it, or assume they can handle it at the airport like the old paper forms. Wrong. Show up without your C5 and you're not getting waved through. You're getting pulled into a side room while everyone else who did their homework walks past you to baggage claim. Immigration officers aren't rude about it, but they're not bending rules either. The message is clear. If you want to visit, do the bare minimum and come prepared. Then there's the enforcement of basics that used to slide. Valid passport, obviously, but now they're checking expiration dates down to the day. Your passport needs to be valid for at least 6 months beyond your planned departure. Onward or return ticket. You better have proof, and a screenshot of a reservation that could be canceled doesn't always cut it. They want confirmed bookings. Proof of accommodation. Have it ready. These aren't new rules, they've been on the books for years, but enforcement was relaxed. In 2025, that relaxation ended. Officers are asking questions, reviewing documents, and if something doesn't add up, you're not entering until it does. Americans used to casual border crossings in the Caribbean are suddenly feeling what Jamaicans feel every time they apply for a U.S. visa: the weight of proving you belong. Now let's follow the money, because that's where the real frustration is bubbling up. In August 2025, social media exploded with claims that Jamaica imposed a new tourist tax targeting Americans specifically, with some posts screaming that Americans now pay 25% more than Canadians or Brits. The truth is more nuanced but still stings. Jamaica charges a $20 tourism enhancement fee, the TEF, on every single air arrival regardless of nationality. That fee has been around in some form for years, but in 2025, the way it's calculated and collected shifted. Most airlines now bake the TEF and the departure tax directly into your ticket price, so when you book a flight, that $200 fare might actually cost you $245 after all the Jamaica-specific fees are added. Americans, who are used to transparent all-in pricing thanks to U.S. regulations, see that jump at checkout and feel blindsided. Canadians and Europeans, more accustomed to fee breakdowns, barely blink. The perception of being singled out spread like wildfire, even though the fee structure is technically the same across the board. But here's where it gets interesting. Jamaican officials justify the TEF by pointing to exactly where the money goes. Road improvements along tourist corridors, affordable housing for hospitality workers, environmental protection for reefs and beaches, and workforce training programs to elevate service standards. They're essentially saying, you want world-class infrastructure and pristine beaches. Then help us fund it. For Jamaicans, it's a fair trade. For Americans, especially those comparing prices to Cancun or Punta Cana, it feels like a penalty for choosing Jamaica. And when you're already spending more on flights post-pandemic, every extra $20 adds up. Let's shift gears to something that's hitting wealthier American tourists even harder: property ownership. For decades, buying a beachfront villa in Jamaica was the ultimate expat dream. Negral sunsets from your own veranda, a retirement condo in Ocho Rios, investment properties rented out on Airbnb during high season. Americans poured millions into Jamaican real estate, and the government welcomed it as foreign investment. But in 2025, the rules around coastal property ownership tightened like a vice. New regulations require more extensive environmental impact assessments for developments near sensitive ecosystems. Permitting timelines doubled, sometimes tripled. Due diligence costs skyrocketed as buyers now need local legal teams to navigate layers of bureaucracy that didn't exist 2 years ago. And here's the kicker. In certain coastal zones, the government has quietly signaled that priority will go to Jamaican nationals and regional buyers over foreign investors. Realtors on the island reported a stunning 50% drop in inquiries from American buyers compared to early 2024. Some agents say deals that used to close in 60 days now take 6 months, if they close at all. Supporters of the policy call it sovereignty in action. They argue that Jamaica's coastline belongs to Jamaicans, that unchecked foreign ownership was driving locals away from beaches their grandparents fished from, and that speculative real estate flipping was inflating prices beyond what ordinary Jamaicans could afford. Critics counter that Jamaica is shooting itself in the foot, scaring away the exact kind of deep-pocketed investors who bring long-term capital, create jobs, and boost the economy. Both sides have a point, but the result is the same. American property dreams in Jamaica are colliding with a new reality, and the island isn't backing down. While Washington and Kingston were cooling on real estate and visa issues, another player stepped onto the stage with a briefcase full of cash: China. In August 2025, Jamaica signed a memorandum of understanding with China Harbor Engineering Company to conduct feasibility studies for a massive extension of the island's north-south highway. The studies are free to Jamaica, and the potential project could be worth billions. But this isn't just about one highway. Chinese investment in Jamaica now totals close to $3 billion, spanning port expansions, road networks, and yes, even early-stage discussions about a high-speed rail line that could connect Montego Bay to Kingston in under 2 hours. When American media caught wind of this, the headlines practically wrote themselves. Jamaica pivots to China, leaving U.S. behind. The optics were brutal, but here's what those headlines missed. For Jamaicans stuck in traffic on the overcrowded North Coast Highway during peak tourist season, China's involvement isn't about geopolitics. It's about getting from point A to point B without losing 2 hours of your day. When funding talks with Washington stalled over conditions and timelines, Jamaica didn't sit around waiting. They found a partner willing to move fast, ask fewer questions, and deliver infrastructure that's desperately needed. American tourists might read this as a snub, but Jamaicans read it as pragmatism. And honestly, when you're sitting in a taxi that should take 45 minutes but takes 2 hours because of bottleneck traffic, you stop caring about which country funded the solution. You just want the road built. Now, let's talk about something that's harder to quantify but just as important: respect. Or rather, the lack of it that finally pushed Jamaica to act. By mid-2024, viral videos were spreading across TikTok and Instagram showing tourists behaving in ways that made Jamaicans' blood boil. We're talking about visitors mocking street vendors, haggling insultingly over handmade crafts, filming locals without permission and posting it for clout, flying drones over weddings and funerals, and even pocketing pieces of coral and sea fans as souvenirs. One particularly infamous clip showed a tourist laughing while imitating patois in a way that was clearly meant to mock, not appreciate. The comment sections exploded, and Jamaicans made their feelings known. Come for the culture, but disrespect it, and you're not welcome back. In 2025, Jamaica launched what can only be described as Operation Respect the Culture. Airport signage now hits you with a blunt message the moment you clear customs: enjoy everything, disrespect nothing. Resort corridors display the same signs. Hotels brief guests during check-in. The rules are simple and non-negotiable. Don't film strangers without consent. Don't fly drones over crowds, private events, or protected areas. Don't take anything from the ocean that isn't explicitly sold to you. And if you break these rules, the consequences got serious. Environmental violations that used to result in a warning or a small fine now carry penalties up to 10 million Jamaican dollars. That's roughly 65,000 US dollars. Repeat offenders, those who ignore warnings and keep pushing boundaries, are now being denied re-entry to Jamaica entirely. Their names go on a list, and the next time they try to book a trip, they'll find out at the airport that they're not welcome. Most tourists will never come close to triggering these penalties, but the few who do are learning the hard way that Jamaica isn't playing games anymore. Let's address the elephant in the room: safety. In 2024, Jamaica's reputation took a beating in international media. Headlines screamed about crime rates, gang violence in Kingston, and incidents involving tourists in certain areas. The U.S. State Department issued a Level 3 travel advisory, reconsider travel, which is the same warning level as places like Haiti and Honduras. For a country that depends on tourism for roughly 1/3 of its GDP, that advisory was devastating. Bookings dropped, cruise lines rerouted, and the narrative became Jamaica is too dangerous. But here's what changed in 2025. On May 29th, after months of lobbying and evidence of improved security measures, the U.S. State Department downgraded Jamaica to Level 2. Exercise increased caution. That's the same level as the Bahamas, France, and parts of Mexico. It's not a green light to be careless, but it's a massive shift in perception. What drove the change? Jamaica didn't just ask nicely. They showed results. Increased police patrols in tourist zones, new private security partnerships with major resorts, and a crackdown on crime in areas frequented by visitors. The airport arrival experience, once chaotic and intimidating, became streamlined. The first mile from Sangster International, notorious for unlicensed taxi drivers swarming tourists, got cleaned up. In roughly 3 months of 2025, Jamaican authorities seized 273 illegal ride-hail vehicles. That's not a typo. 273 unlicensed cars, vans, and motorcycles that were operating in and around airports, charging tourists inflated prices, and occasionally putting them in dangerous situations. The message was clear. Use official taxi desks, book license transfers, or risk getting scammed. For bargain hunters used to negotiating with random drivers, it felt less welcoming. For families worried about safety, it felt like Jamaica finally had their back. The airport crackdown is part of a broader effort to professionalize every touchpoint a tourist has with Jamaica. Dispatch desks now operate with posted fares. Drivers must show credentials, insurance, and vehicle registration before picking up passengers. Hotels are required to clearly mark pickup zones and work with licensed operators only. Curbside chaos, where 10 drivers would swarm you shouting prices and grabbing your luggage, is now met with security intervention. It's organized, it's efficient, and yes, it's less flexible than the old Wild West system. But here's the trade-off. You know exactly what you're paying, who you're riding with, and that if something goes wrong, there's accountability. That peace of mind costs a little more and feels a little stricter, but for most travelers, it's worth it. Now, let's get into the geopolitical weeds for a moment, because there's a layer to this story that goes beyond tourism. In mid-2025, reports started circulating that Jamaica had paused or even canceled discussions with the United States about expanding security cooperation. We're talking about radar stations for drug interdiction, docking rights for U.S. Coast Guard vessels, and intelligence-sharing outposts. For years, these arrangements were seen as mutually beneficial. The U.S. got a strategic foothold in the Caribbean to monitor trafficking routes, and Jamaica got resources, training, and equipment. But in 2025, the conversation shifted. Jamaican officials began framing these partnerships through the lens of sovereignty and neutrality. The concern was that deeper security ties with Washington could make Jamaica a target, or at least perceived as too aligned with U.S. interests in a region where other powers, including China and Russia, are increasingly active. Washington reportedly pushed back, warning that gaps in cooperation could embolden drug traffickers, illegal fishing operations, and even human smuggling networks that use Jamaica as a transit point. But Kingston's response was firm. We value partnerships, but we won't be anyone staging ground. Maritime cooperation continues. Joint exercises still happen, but the idea of permanent U.S. installations or expanded bases is off the table for now. For some Americans, especially those who see the Caribbean as naturally within the U.S. sphere of influence, this stings. It feels like an ally turning away. But for Jamaicans, it's about adulthood. It's about making decisions based on national interest, not historical expectations or Cold War-era assumptions. And when you combine this geopolitical shift with tighter tourism rules and Chinese infrastructure deals, a narrative emerges. Jamaica is charting its own course, and if that makes some Americans uncomfortable, so be it. But here's the part that should make everyone stop and think. Despite all the controversy, despite the headlines, despite the online outrage and calls for boycotts, Jamaica's tourism numbers are not collapsing. In fact, they're thriving. Let's look at the hard data. In 2024, Jamaica earned $4.3 billion from tourism. By July 2025, just 7 months into the year, the island had already pulled in $2.4 billion from 2.3 million visitors. July 2025 alone saw arrivals jump 16.5% compared to the same month the previous year. Over 2 million stopover guests visited in the first 9 months of 2024, and monthly records continued to fall throughout 2025. And here's the kicker. Average visitor spending increased. In January 2025, the average tourist spent about $1,700 during their stay, up 3.6% from the year before. So what does this tell us? It tells us that despite stricter rules, higher fees, and tougher enforcement, people are still choosing Jamaica. Not only are they choosing it, they're spending more while they're there. The market is absorbing the changes. Yes, some American travelers are furious and swearing they'll never return. Yes, some are booking Barbados or Turks and Caicos instead. But overall, demand is holding strong and in some segments it's growing. Why? Because Jamaica offers something other Caribbean islands can't replicate. The culture, the food, the music, the landscapes, the authenticity. You can find beaches anywhere. You can't find Jamaica anywhere but Jamaica. And the island's leadership knows this. They know they have leverage. They know that for every American who cancels in protest, there are two more ready to book, plus Canadians, Europeans, and increasingly, tourists from Latin America and Asia. This brings us to the big question everyone's dancing around. Is Jamaica pushing Americans away, or is it pulling standards up? The answer, frustratingly and honestly, is both. It depends entirely on how you travel. If you're the kind of visitor who shows up expecting exceptions, who assumes your American passport is a magic key, who haggles aggressively, films without asking, and treats locals like props in your vacation photos, then yes, 2025 Jamaica is going to feel like a rude awakening. You're going to hit friction at every turn, and you're going to leave with a bitter taste, convinced that Jamaica has become anti-American. But if you're the kind of traveler who does research, respects local norms, follows rules, and genuinely engages with the culture, then Jamaica is as welcoming as it's ever been. In fact, it might be better, because the crackdown on bad behavior and unlicensed operators means a safer, more predictable experience for everyone. Here's the uncomfortable truth that some Americans don't want to hear. Jamaica didn't shut the door. It just stopped leaving it wide open. For years, the island rolled out the red carpet while asking for very little in return. Tourists came, spent money, and left, often without understanding or respecting the place they just visited. That model worked when Jamaica was desperate for every dollar. But now, with tourism hitting record highs and new investment pouring in from multiple sources, Jamaica has options. It can afford to set terms. It can afford to say, we want visitors but not at any cost. We want tourism that enriches our people, protects our environment, and respects our sovereignty. And if that means some tourists feel less catered to, less coddled, and less like royalty, well, that's the price of doing business in a country that's no longer willing to compromise its dignity for dollars. Let's get practical for a moment, because if you're planning a trip to Jamaica in 2025 or beyond, you need to know how to navigate this new landscape without feeling pushed out. First, do the C5 form before you fly. Go to enterjamaica.gov.jm, fill it out completely, and screenshot the QR code. Keep it in your phone's photos and have a printed copy as backup. Trust me, you do not want to be that person fumbling at immigration while everyone else glides through. Second, have your documents ready. Valid passport with at least 6 months before expiration, confirmed return or onward ticket, proof of accommodation, and ideally, a rough itinerary. Officers might not ask for all of it, but if they do, you'll be glad you have it. Third, meet your driver at the official taxi desk inside the airport. Ignore anyone who approaches you in the terminal or outside offering rides. Those are unlicensed operators, and while most are harmless, some are not. The official desk has posted fares, licensed drivers, and accountability. Fourth, understand that airport fees are already in your airfare. Don't double pay at a counter. If you're confused about charges, ask your airline during booking, not the gate agent in Jamaica. Fifth, book permitted boats and licensed tour guides. Look for visible insurance certificates, radio equipment, and official identification. If a deal seems too good to be true, it probably is. Sixth, ask before filming. This goes for people, private property, cultural events, and even some public spaces. A simple, "Do you mind if I take a photo?" goes a long way. Seventh, keep drones grounded unless you have explicit permission and are in a legal zone. No exceptions for weddings, funerals, crowds, or protected areas. Eighth, treat reefs, mangroves, and beaches like living museums. Look, don't touch. Take pictures, not souvenirs. Ninth, if you're driving, remember that Jamaica drives on the left. Roads can be narrow, winding, and aggressive. Use toll highways when available, they're faster and safer. And finally, tip generously. Hospitality workers in Jamaica depend on tips to make a living wage, and good service deserves recognition. Follow those guidelines, and I promise you, Jamaica will welcome you with open arms. You'll experience the warmth, the beauty, and the magic that make this island unforgettable. You'll leave with stories, friendships, and memories that last a lifetime. But show up entitled, show up unprepared, and you're going to have a very different experience. The choice is yours. So what's the bottom line? Jamaica isn't saying don't come. It's saying come correct. The rules aren't walls designed to keep you out. They're the framework that keeps the experience authentic, the environment protected, and the welcome genuine. This isn't about punishing Americans or getting revenge for visa policies. It's about a small island nation asserting its right to control who enters, how they behave, and what they contribute. It's about fairness. It's about reciprocity. It's about Jamaica looking in the mirror and deciding it doesn't need to bend over backward anymore. And honestly, good for them. Every country deserves to set standards that reflect its values and protect its people. For American travelers, this is a wake-up call. The world is changing. The days of passport privilege, where you could globetrot with minimal friction simply because of where you were born, are fading. Countries are demanding respect, reciprocity, and responsibility. And Jamaica, beautiful, vibrant, resilient Jamaica, is leading that charge in the Caribbean. So pack your bags, do your homework, bring your respect, and go experience one of the most incredible places on Earth. Just don't expect to coast on old assumptions. This is Jamaica in 2025. The music still plays, the beaches still shine, and the welcome is still warm. But now it comes with expectations. And that's exactly how it should be. Thanks for sticking with me through this deep dive. If you found this valuable, if it changed how you see Jamaica or travel in general, do me a solid. Smash that like button, drop a comment sharing your thoughts or your own Jamaica experiences, and subscribe if you haven't already. We're building a community of thoughtful travelers who want the real story, not just the headlines. Until next time, travel smart, travel respectfully, and keep exploring this amazing world. Safe travels, everyone.